Welcome back to Backcountry Amateur Radio. Gear care is especially important, especially when that gear takes care of us, and a water filter is a big one for me. So we're going to talk about the Katadyn Hiker that I have, and I frequently use this during the summer, so I give it a light wash, and I'm going to show you that between uses. Later in the season, you do need to give it a bigger wash. All right, so what I do, and I mean, you can do this every time if you want. This is my minimum when I get home. So I take out these three parts. Output hose to your clean water, I guess, dirty water, and then the filter itself. I'll do another video for what I do at the end of the season. So for now, I'm just going to run some warm water. Just kind of rinse stuff out a little bit. It's not really necessary to rinse everything, but I'm just going to set that aside. I actually use this little fitting here. This plugs right into my Camelback bladder, which is unbelievably convenient. But this time of year, I'm using this filter enough where I'm not going to run Clorox or bleach through this to clean it. So I'm just going to use warm water to rinse it. Once it's dry, then it's dry. But I'll unplug this little guy and plug it back into here, depending on who's with me. This hook is from an old Pure Scout, P-U-R Scout, and it's so handy. I'm glad I still have it. The Scout it died a while back. So I'm going to hang this off a hanger, let that dry. But for now, I'm just going to set it aside on a rag. Same thing here. Now be careful, this fitting is the same fitting that goes into your Camelback. This is your input hose, dirty water. But at this point, it's probably pretty clean. It's been dry for a few days in my bag. Dryness does wonders for bacteria and things. So and then the next step, I'm going to adjust this so it's not quite so warm. And it is time to pull apart my filter. And this really doesn't require a whole lot of effort. Once in a while, so here's your cartridge. Here's the cartridge body, or the filter body. I like to feel in there for sediment and slime and residue. And what I'm going to do is actually get in there and I'm going to clean out the inside with a soapy brush. I'll throw a little water in there, and you can see, get some soap in there. Once in a while, this is worth doing just because water has a tendency to just, I don't know, things get slimy. You don't have to go too crazy. Like I said, at the end of the season, I will do bleach. It's a 9-to-1 ratio, 9 water, 1 bleach, and it gets things really clean. And then I set that aside, let that dry for the winter. As far as this goes, this is good enough. So it's a filter. It's not cleaning your water, it's not doing its job. So then I'll set this aside to dry. And the next step, let's make sure this isn't, I'm just kind of cooler than room temperature. I'm going to rinse this. This filter saw some sediment water, some glacial runoff on this last trip. So I just cleaned my sink too, so I'm not too worried about letting this stuff sit around. But yeah, I'm just going to set this aside as well and let that dry. And I'm pretty much just letting water run over this. Just kind of wash out some of the residue, some of the grit that gets on the outside. Over time though, these get clogged and you got to replace them. But they do last quite a bit longer than you might think. So that's pretty much it. I'm just going to set this aside, let it dry. and then I will reassemble it when it's all dried, and then I'll throw it back into the storage bin in the garage. So that's it. All right, everything is dry, and so it's now just time to put stuff back. Now, the filter part is obviously the most important. Just make sure you wrap this guy around like that. And then I just kind of put that back on. And this is a screen to keep the bigger debris out of the main membrane of the filter. That's why that's there. Plug that in, screw it in, and the seal will make it more resistant, but you need to go until you feel the stop. There you go. And then compress, and it goes back in the bag. Now, right now all my hoses are generally clean, so I'm not going to worry about separating them. I'm just going to keep everything nice and simple and jam them in the bag and put the filter in the bag. Now, this filter has been with us for a while, but it's a great filter. All right, that's that. And that just goes on the shelf. Thanks for joining me at Backcountry Amateur Radio. I know this is not a radio subject, but in the backcountry, we use water filters. It's not just about the radio. Hope you found this useful.